Senator, thanks very much for your time. It's great to see you, as always.
Thank you.
I want to start by some breaking news that we have today, which is that there was actually movement towards funding FEMA, if you will, to get to pass a $7 billion emergency disaster relief package. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, we've passed through the first stage of beginning to start the debate on it, and so I think we can now have a vote on the bill that will be successful. I think there's growing bipartisan support for it, and once we can pass it in the Senate, it can then go over to the House, and hopefully we can earn the support we need there.
Isn't the problem really in the House, or at least it had been? I know Senator Schumer was telling us just a couple days ago that he thought that the initial GOP anger and desire to have offsets in spending for additional FEMA disaster aid had probably waned, but it seems like there's still some sentiment on that side. Is that true?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do in the House to make sure a bipartisan bill can get through the House. Obviously, we heard a lot of bluster from House Republican leadership about no matter what's in there, you're going to better have to pay for it first. That kind of obstructionist view for disaster relief is really, you know, I think it's ill-advised and lacking in judgment. So I hope that we can overcome that viewpoint and really create the urgency that these are families and farms and businesses that are suffering, and they need help now so they can rebuild. If everything that we're talking about is about the economy and how we create jobs, if these small businesses can't clean out and rebuild, that's job loss across the board. If these farms can't get a little bit of money in to do their cleanup and plant another crop and be able to get back on their feet, that will be jobs lost. So this is an urgent issue and an urgent crisis, certainly for New York. So I am hopeful that we will create the political will to get this done.
Yeah, you know, a lot of folks in New York obviously are looking to FEMA, and FEMA, if this doesn't work, runs out of money by the end of September.
Correct.
The thing is, though, there are other local leaders who are also saying, you know, we've got a 12.5% share. We can't afford it. We're already cash-strapped. We'd like the state or the federal government to pick up the tab. Do you think that locals should, in fact, pay something?
You know, our local governments are really strapped. They are. And I think people will bring and come together with whatever funds they have to help. The reality is, Liz, people want to help other people. Throughout New York, all I've seen is neighbor helping neighbor, stranger helping stranger. I mean, people are extremely generous in our state. And so I think that local governments will do whatever they can do, and I think state government will do whatever it can do. But at the end of the day, federal government really has to bring to bear the funds that are necessary to rebuild these communities. It's one of the fundamental roles of the federal government. So we have to come together as a Congress and get this money through.
Yeah, I think most people would agree with you. I mean, certainly that is job one of the federal government. But if you can't even get an agreement on disaster aid and helping people when they need it most, how are you ever going to manage to convince the Republicans to pass the $447 billion jobs bill that the president is out now stumping for?
Well, I certainly haven't given up yet, Liz, and I think there are bipartisan folks in the Senate that I can work with. A lot of these ideas are just plain old good ideas. They're not Democratic ideas and they're not Republican ideas. They're just good ideas. And so I think we can bring consensus around a lot of them. Whether we can get the whole package done or not, I don't know. But I do know that within that package are a lot of good ideas, like making sure that there's a payroll tax holiday, either for the employee or the employer. Both sides really does help economic growth. That's an idea that has bipartisan support. So I see a lot of ideas in here that I think can make a difference.
You know, the thing is, in New York, obviously, yesterday we had this sort of really incredible win by the Republicans in the 9th Congressional District, and now you're seeing a lot of victory lapping, chest beating, et cetera, and well-deserved, really, by the GOP. But it just sort of underscores the partisan nature of it, despite what the president has asked for people to drop it and come together, particularly when around disaster, which you've now suggested is time for people to work together. I mean, if the Republicans are going to continue that and they're going to say that it's a referendum on the president, it seems unlikely that you're going to manage to get anything done.
Well, they can say what they like. I've already called Congressman-elect Turner, congratulated him, told him I look forward to working with him. I think it's important that we recognize that, you know, I don't think you can take anything for granted in electoral politics today. The Democrats lost the race downstate, but the Democrats won the race upstate in a 2-to-1 Republican district all this year in special elections.
Yep.
So I think there's enormous volatility in the electorate right now, largely because they want to get things done. They want change in Washington. They want people to come to the table, get things done, pass jobs bill, pass FEMA relief, really do the people's business. And so I think they're very anxious. I think they're angry. I think they're frustrated, and they want solutions. And so I think it's incumbent upon all of us to work together to get things done, to build consensus, to make compromises, and pass legislation.
But you're not buying this referendum bellwether line that the Republicans are pushing, or do you think the Democrats really have something to worry about?
No, I don't think it's a referendum. I think it's an election that really shows that voters are concerned, that they want solutions, they want things done. And that was what the last election was about with Kathy Hochul's race. It was also what the last election was about in the last election cycle. There's just enormous angst. When I travel around New York, Liz, the only issue people talk to me about is jobs. How are we going to create a better climate for small businesses to grow, for people to get employed, for people to provide for their families? And if they have a sense that people aren't working together, they'll do what they can to do something about it. And that may well be a change in representation. So I view this as the same wake-up call we've been hearing for a while now, that we need people who will come to the table, work on solutions, and get things done.
You got to wake up, though, right? I mean, it can only ring for so long.
I think, Liz, people are hurting. I mean, it's so simple. People are struggling, and they don't know what else to do to change their circumstance. And so I believe that we just have to work harder. We have to try to be more bipartisan, try to reach across the aisle, form consensus, get the good ideas out there, and build upon what we can. And it is possible, Liz. We passed that 9/11 health bill. Started out with no hope, no future. We passed it on unanimous consent in the last Congress.
I remember.
We passed the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, again, on a bipartisan basis. So I think when people of goodwill do come together and work hard at something that matters, they can get things done. I think the economy really matters to people. And so I'm hopeful that, if not all this jobs bill, parts of this jobs bill can get passed. And I'm going to work very hard to make sure that gets done.
Okay, Senator, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.